And advertising is a 100-year-old technology. It was generally defined in about 1930, and I'm kind of perplexed that people still think this is a great way of contacting people, where you just basically interrupt somebody and go, or you've got a chief finance officer. They're in the middle of a spreadsheet and they've got to get a board report out, and you interrupt them either with a telephone call or with an email, and seem to think that that's great. And of course, we think it's great.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Engati Engage. I'm Aish, and for this episode, we have the pleasure of welcoming Timothy Hughes. Before I dive in, remember to hit the subscribe button to our channel for more exclusive content from thought leaders from around the globe. Let's begin with a quick introduction of Engati. Engati is the world's leading multilingual no-code chatbot platform, available across 14 channels with 25,000 bots, created across 186 countries in every domain and use case. Engati has been recognized as a top platform by Inc.com, TechWorld, CIO, and many others. We run the Engati blog and video channel and the Engati Engage podcast, receiving upwards of 300,000 visitors annually. And now for our guest. Tim is the CEO of Digital Leadership Associates and is the #1 social selling influencer. He's the author of the best-selling books Social Selling, Techniques to Influence Buyers and Changemakers and Smarketing. How to Achieve Competitive Advantage Through Blended Sales and Marketing. Tim co-founded DLA Ignite when he saw the effect that social media could have and realized that in the future of social media would probably play a crucial role in the effectiveness of all organizations. He is also a non-executive director at Hi Chloe Cloud, an organization bringing together a community with values for ethical production, responsible and equitable consumption. Before we get the inside scoop from Timothy himself, here's a quick announcement. We have something special for all of you, so stick around till the end of the interview. Hi Tim, it's so great to have you here.
Hey, it's great to be here. Really excited.
So let me get started with our first question. What are the most common changes that businesses need to make to get better at social selling?
There's three things really. Social selling. What is it? It's the reaction that we as salespeople need to take to the fact that we now have a highly empowered buyer. So we all have a mobile phone, and we can all go online and research stuff and buy stuff, and we actually don't like salespeople. So what we do is that we actually do whatever we can to avoid them, and if we can buy stuff without talking to them, then we will do. And so we if we want to, whatever we want to buy, we can do that. So as salespeople, what we need to do and businesses, what we need to do is respond. And part of that is actually to find those buyers, be seen by those buyers, and have a conversation with them. So that's not pitching to them, because if I come on here and say, hey, you're not here to hear a pitch about DLA Ignite, you're here to have information. If I start telling you about the company, you'll switch off. And so will your buyers online. So what can you do now to actually help people? There's three things. First of all, you need to have a presence on social media. Because that's so people can actually find you. And you do that in what we call being buyer-centric. So you need to don't be a salesperson. What you need to be is, one of the things that we do when we sell is that we actually help people. We explain, we may just be simple explaining about this is what this feature does, or this is the benefit of that. But we will be, if we're selling chatbots, there's people who work for the company, have an experience of chatbots, and can give you the benefit and tell you this is what they can do and this is how they can apply to your business. So we do help people, and we have experience, and what we need to do is demonstrate that on social media. The second thing that we need to do is we need to have a network. So this is about connecting with people and building relationships with people. The third thing we need to do is that we have content, because what people are doing is that they're looking for content. This is a great example as a piece of content. The piece of content here, the idea is to educate people and to inspire people. So what you do is you get different guests on who have different views, and the people listen in and decide whether they agree with those views or not. But the idea is it educates and and inspires. And again, what that is about making sure that you're therefore educating people, and then when it comes to them buying something that you sell, they'll go, I heard that podcast the other day, that Tim Hughes was on it, that was really, I know, I'll give them a call. And so this is how we as sellers can make sure that we're top of mind when buyers are actually looking for things. And these are the things that all businesses need to be doing right now.
Yes, I agree with you. I think content marketing is huge these days. You mentioned the first step involving chatbots and AI. So how else does AI and technology help with social selling?
It's still it's still early days. I mean, we've actually had a couple of AI companies fall by the wayside over the last 12 months. But what I think we're doing now is that there's always changes in development and innovation. And what we've generally done in the past is that we innovate things that we have already.
Yes.
So, for example, the iKettle, which enables you to put a kettle on using an app, is not really innovation, because we have a kettle and we can go and switch it on. And what we're looking for are now the things that are going to innovate. So, for example, before we had the iPhone, we didn't have, for example, Snapchat, or we didn't have Shazam, or we didn't really have Facebook. And what they've done is that certain innovations then create other innovations. And I think what we're doing at the moment is we're waiting for those new innovations to come through and to prove themselves.
I completely agree with you. I've heard the example of an MP3 as well being used. I think that's a brilliant example to showcase how AI and technology can help with social selling.
Yes.
But do you think chatbots?
And I think, there's AI. It's creeping into everyday life. It will be. I mean, I've heard people say about AI. It will be as prevalent as the websites. I mean, your mobile phone already has stuff in it. It's asking you, do you want to set an alarm? Because I've set an alarm 3 times for a particular time, and it just knows. And and the whole point of it is to help you.
Yes. So, but do you think chatbots could help with closing a sale in terms of social selling? Like, do you think it has a huge impact on it?
I certainly think it has. The thing about chatbots is it enables you to automate certain processes.
Yeah.
And I think what chatbots will allow you to do is to take away what we needed to be doing is moving salespeople or anybody in an organization to be doing more and more tasks where they need to think. And what you can do with chatbots is ultimately take away the tasks where they don't need to think.
Yes.
And so there's a certain amount of automation that you can provide. I mean, we're already seeing them on websites. And I know people that will go, well, I don't want to actually, I know there's people that want to talk to somebody, but I don't know if you've ever used a chatbot on something like Amazon. It's just amazing.
I agree with you.
And the same with Vodafone. I mean, much as I sometimes, if it's something to do with my mobile phone, I probably want to talk to somebody, but I have actually sorted stuff through chatbots, because actually some of the stuff is actually really easy, and it's just, you go, oh yeah, I didn't realize about that. And if you've got a knowledge base, you can put that out on a chatbot and immediately give people access to a knowledge base, which then means that your contact center are dealing with the more difficult stuff.
So when you talk about social media as a long-term strategy rather than a sales, marketing or HR tactic. So could you share a few insights into this?
Yeah. So we believe that social media has changed the world. And I mean, it's changed society. Just thought I'd get some facts before I came on. So there's now, there's 4.57, so 7 billion people in the world. Of those on the internet, there's 4.57 billion people on the internet. And there's 3.81 billion people active on social media. And in the last quarter, 300 million people have basically joined the internet. Now, obviously, that number will change. A lot of those that join the internet have actually recently been in India. As the internet rolls out, generally what happens is that people then join social media. So while you may find somebody on Facebook says, oh yeah, I'm leaving Facebook, 300 million people have joined. So the thing is it's not a glitch. It's not going away. It's not a fad. Whether you like it or not, it's changed the way that we work. It changed society, and it's now changing the way we work because with COVID-19, the whole digital transformation thing has accelerated.
Yes.
So in terms of your question, what we believe is that you can transform your sales team to use social. So in a world where there's no face-to-face meetings, how are you going to build long-term relationships with people? And the best way to do that at scale is on social media. You contacted me about this interview, and I immediately connected with you on social media. So immediately I'm able to see your profiles. I can see who you are. I can see your belief systems. You can see my LinkedIn profile, and you can see what I'm like. And that's important when we're selling things in a context where generally we know the salesperson's name. So what that means is that in the current world, when we're actually needed to do what we need to do is actually build these relationships, which are then based on permission. Because you think about advertising, cold calling, email, it's all about interruption. And nobody likes that. We're all annoyed with all of those things. What we want is to have a relationship with somebody who can actually help us and guide us through the buying process. If I'm buying something which is $500,000, I'm probably not going to buy it from someone who just rings me up and gives me a good pitch. I'm probably going to buy it from somebody who I like and I respect and ultimately I trust. Now, I might not need to like them, but I ultimately need to trust them. Now, that's how social media works from a sales perspective. But business is about communication, whether it's in human resources, whether it's in finance, whether it's in procurement. Every part of the organization can empower their staff to be on social. So, for example, the classic example would be to put all of your human resources staff on social, and then they can do things by connecting to, for example, their ex-employees, the people they may want to have in the future. And what they're able to do is actually put out not necessarily a sales message, but a culture message about this is how great our company is. We have a work-life balance. We support remote working. We have a great way of supporting decentralized employees, etc., etc. And when somebody is actually looking for a job, they'll go, that's the organization that I want to work for. So rather than you selling a product, you're selling the company. And you can do that right across the organization. And we believe, certainly where we help organizations, we will generally half the cost and double the output. And there's not very many things that can help you do that nowadays.
Mm-hmm. I think social media is incredible when it comes to selling talent as well.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, if you want a job, my partner's son has never had a problem getting a job, and he's always been active on LinkedIn. Mm-hmm. If you want to get a job, you can find one on LinkedIn. There's certain things you need to do. For example, you need to have a good profile, you need to have a good network, and you need to have good content. Mm-hmm. Someone said to me, if you want to get a job, start a podcast. And then say you want to interview the people who actually you want to go and work for.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah. So there's ways and means. So rather than rather than wait for a job to come to you, you could actually set up the podcast and actually So you turn the whole thing around. So, and that's the great thing about social media. It empowers anybody. All you need is a mobile phone and internet connection. It doesn't matter where you are in the world. It doesn't matter who you are. Within reason, it empowers people.
Mm-hmm. And I just want to say, you earlier had brought up a point about how advertisements and like other more obsolete techniques are more of like an interruption. I really appreciate you mentioning that. That's very, I never saw it as an interruption versus a permission, as you said. So
yeah, it's a fundamental difference. And advertising is a 100-year-old technology. It was generally defined in about 1930. And I'm kind of perplexed that people still think this is a great way of contacting people, where you just basically interrupt somebody and go, or you've got a chief finance officer. They're in the middle of a spreadsheet and they've got to get a board report out, and you interrupt them either with a telephone call or with an email, and seem to think that that's great. And of course, we think it's great because we're really passionate about our products and services, and we think that people should listen to it. Actually, just pisses people off.
I guess it's not that buyer-centric or customer-centric as we thought it once was.
No, it's not. No, and it's been around for 100 years, and surely we can do better than this.
So do you think social media influencers, do you think that's more for permission, or do you think that there's still time to develop that, I guess?
So business consumer, influencers is generally seen as paid media. It's basically advertising.
Okay.
So what you do is you pay a social media influencer. I know someone who's selling. I know a company that sells rucksacks, and they approached a social media influencer, and she wanted $9,000 to basically go online and tell people how great this rucksack was. Now that is pretty much just advertising. Because the person and nobody really, if someone goes on and says, "Hey, this rucksack's really great," I mean, you don't believe it. I mean, but if you're getting $9,000 for saying a rucksack's great, it's not a bad living, is it?
Definitely not. So, what changes do you think we'll see in social media post-pandemic?
Well, this is going to go on for another 12 months.
Oh.
However much the lockdown is going to, we're going to have social distancing. The likelihood, for example, conferences and events. I mean, we're not going to have conferences and events for 12 months. Yeah. I don't know about you, but I'm not at the moment, I don't fancy going into crowds of people. So that's kind of over. So there's only so many things you can do in terms of generating demand. And with the number of people that are getting on social media and are comfortable with social media, with 3.81 billion people, your customers are on social media. You need to be talking to them. And one of the things we quite often get is, oh yes, but this chief finance officer isn't on social media. Yeah, but there are 10 other people in the organization that make a decision, and they will be on social media.
Right on.
Your customers on social media, you need to understand, and you need to understand it. You need to be on it, and you need to be active and comfortable in having conversations with people. And for a lot of people, that's a big change. But COVID-19 has accelerated the change. In terms of, I was told a friend of mine back in January went for a job interview. And he was told he had to be in the office. Now, to get in the office here in the UK, it would be a 4-hour round-trip drive. So he said, "No, I'm not interested." And I'm sure that company isn't insisting those people are in the office right now. So it's been proven you don't need to be in an office. So you need to be where your clients are, which is on social media.
Yes, completely agree with you. So, what is marketing? Exactly. You coined this term, but what is it? What would you define marketing as? Okay,
so marketing is in this world of the empowered buyer, that we need to bring sales and marketing closer together. So it's the S from sales and the marketing from marketing. I've worked for organizations where sales and marketing wasn't close together. In fact, they probably threw stones at each other over email. And what we do is that the book is about providing people with a change program to get them to understand how they can bring the two organizations together. Not necessarily, they can merge them, or they can bring them close together. And one of my authors is it's a case study of the program that he ran on basically bringing merging the two. And this is a way of making sure that your sales and marketing dollars are spent wisely. And in the current climate, where people are probably short on cash and they don't know how much cash they have, or maybe they do and they know they don't have enough. One of the things that they need to be doing is looking at their cost of sale and cost of marketing and deciding what they need to remove and what they need to spend, and they need to be honest. For example, branding right now may not be something you want to spend money on because you may not have a company in 6 months, so it's kind of pointless having a brand. What you need to do is make sure that you're getting leads and meetings, so you're going to sell stuff because you need the cash. And so that's about looking at those things. So marketing is giving people a new way of working and bringing sales and marketing together.
So how do you think marketing will help in increasing digital presence, brand growth, and social selling?
So marketing, in the book, there's a chapter on account-based marketing, which I believe certainly in the current climate, if your business-to-business enterprise would be of use to you. Again, that's a way of recognizing that a lot of people in an organization will make one single decision, building relationships with them, and using content as a way of engaging with those people. And I think right now, when you need to be looking at your costs, you need to be making sure that sales and marketing, they have a common language. What is a lead, for example? Because I've sat in so many meetings where someone goes, "Oh yeah, we made 10 leads," and everyone goes and nods, and actually everybody around the room has a different view of what a lead is. And it also makes sure that you have a common goal in terms of what it is that you're trying to do. For example, in the particular organization that changed, they were running marketing events just because they thought they needed to run marketing events. There was actually no objective or reason why they were doing it. It's just that we need to run 4 events because it's one a quarter. Well, why are you doing that? Well, we need to. No, do you? We need to attend this conference. Obviously, we're not. Why do you need to attend the conference? Well, all of our competition are there. Okay, so you want to burn up resources to attend attend an exhibition where I could actually get you to connect to all the people that you would have seen at that for less price. So, these are the things that people need to be looking at and need to be investigating the cost of sale that they've got and cost of marketing that they have at the moment.
That's interesting. I've never heard this term before, so I'm so glad you shared this with us.
Oh, thank you.
So moving on to my final question, do you have any other thoughts you'd like to share with our audience?
Yes, I think that I'm currently writing a lot about high performance teams and how to create high performance teams. And one of the things that's coming out is that high performance leaders are not afraid of the future or not afraid of things that are new. We have a lot of people that we talk to that say, we did this 20 years ago, so therefore it's okay, and we should be doing it now. It worked well for me 20 years ago, so it should work well for me now. The world has changed. Yes. The world has changed not only with the advent of social media, but the world has changed with COVID-19. And people need to be looking at different ways of working and different things because of that change. There's a saying, what got you here won't get you there. And it's very true. There has been an acceleration of change, and people need to embrace some of the things that have taken place. And the other thing is that people need to be, what I see is, so for example, I've noticed on my LinkedIn feed this morning, a couple of salespeople posting articles. Now, the articles are about their company. They're not getting any engagement because nobody's interested. But what they've been told is to post some articles, and they probably think they're social selling because they're posting some articles. If the skill doesn't exist in your organization already, it ain't going to exist just by thinking what you think is going to do. You need to get outside help. And right now, there's a lot of organizations I see on LinkedIn that are flaying around and they need help. And they think they can do it internally, and they won't. And they're going to burn through their cash, and they won't get through the other side. And all managers who run high performance teams know this. They know that they need to get outside help. If you look at sports managers, they've all brought people in with new ideas to help the team, and that's what organizations need to be looking for.
What tips would you give to these smaller organizations to leverage their social selling?
I think that I'm biased, but I would recommend that they buy my first book, which is Social Selling Techniques to Influence Buyers and Change Makers, which is available on Amazon worldwide. It's not about me or a journey. We actually wrote it as a workbook that people can work through. Last time I looked, there was something like 80 reviews, 5-star reviews on Amazon, all saying it's a great book, it's changed my life, all those things. And I'm not saying that because I'm being boastful. I'm actually saying that everybody I know that I've recommended it has come back to me and said, thank you for doing that. Actually, it really helped. Now, it doesn't give you all the answers. A book can't do that. But if you're as a business, whether it's a small business or big business, you're a solopreneur, whatever, if you're looking for a way to get into social, I would recommend you buy it, purely because it gives you an idea of where to start, and hopefully try and get rid of some of the confusions that you may have. So and as I say, I know I'm biased, but it is written in a way that can help people.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you so much for sharing this with us.
You're welcome.
Your insights were truly valuable, and I know that our audience is really going to enjoy this interview. So if you've stuck around for this long, we're so excited to announce that our ebook, The Getting to Normalcy, Work from Home to Return to Office, is out and available to download for free. It's filled with checklists, considerations, and ideas so we can get back to normal, whatever our normal is going to be. So check the link in the description below for more details. We'll be back with a new episode with a brand new expert soon. So stay tuned, and we'll see you around for the next one. Bye, everyone.
Bye.